Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated. Welcome back to Nerds Amalgamated, about how taking children, an interview with Take Two Strauss Zelnick on the price of games and how to stop the Italian supervolcano.
I think I know the answer to it, but you may not like it.
Go on.
I'll do it later. I'll say it later.
Right. Well, we've got our res ready.
Oh yeah, res. Yeah. Love this cool drink. Gives us the mental concentration and focus. Relieves the weariness and fatigue. Decreases mental and cognitive fatigue, and reduces eye strain. Love this.
Oh, DJ, why don't you tell us about how Crunchyroll is coming for your children?
Well, Crunchyroll had submitted commissioned a new data report, which was conducted by the National Research Group, NRG, and it highlights a massive and growing influence of anime on Gen Z and millennial audiences worldwide. This study surveyed 29,000 entertainment consumers aged between 13 to 15 across several countries, revealing several key trends and insights. So here are some of the key findings. So over 54% of Gen Z, which is ages between 13 to 28, globally identify as anime fans, a figure that puts anime popularity on par with or surpassing major music and sports icons such as Beyonce, 56%, Kendrick Lamar, 48%, LeBron James, 59%, and Taylor Swift, 60% among the same age group. Millennials and Gen Z engagement, 42% of millennials, which are aging 29 to 44, and 24% of Gen X, which is 45 to 54, also consider themselves as anime fans, although these percentages are lower compared to Gen Z.
Why do the Zoomers? Why are they such weebs?
Must you always hate on the Zoomers? Must you?
I don't hate the Zoomers. I hate many things. The Zoomers aren't one of them.
This report also says that it's not a boys anime. Being an anime fan is not just a boys club anymore. It's very diverse, with 44% of teenage anime fans identifying as females. It also highlights the identity and emotional impact, which says that for Gen Z, anime is more important than entertainment. Around 40% of teenage fans say anime is a, quote, meaningful part of who they are, and 30% claim it has influenced their outlook on life. 78% of all surveys say anime has strengthened their personal relationship.
So if it's influencing their outlook on life, we're going to see a lot more people jumping in front of in the hope of being transported to a magical road.
That's so wrong with the way you say it. I was picturing more like, are we going to see Dragon Ball Z style fights among siblings?
We already have. Have you ever seen the video of the kid screaming, "I've got the power of God and anime on my..."
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, there's a meme that went around a few years ago. I really feel bad for the kid because they must have been getting... But their response to being bullied is, I think they were swinging a stick around while screaming, "I have the power of God and anime on my side," which then got referenced when the Vatican made their own...
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I found it. How the hell? It also says that in terms of it highlights active participation. So 54% of Gen Z anime fans actively engage with the medium through online discussions, merchandise, or attending conventions. A majority, 58%, talk about anime with friends and family, and 43% discuss it on social media. See, that's interesting. Trying to talk anime with family. Like, can you
Your
imagine talking to
family
your
wouldn't be,
dad? Was that?
your family wouldn't be into it?
Nah, your family?
No, probably not.
Like, can you imagine talking to your dad about the newest episode of Solo Leveling? He would just go like, "What's Solo Leveling, son?" Uh, Gen Z is drawn to anime for its high quality animation, compelling characters and relationships, and imaginative storytelling. Millennials and Gen X value similar qualities with a particular emphasis on creative storytelling. Although, mind you, like the high quality animation, compelling characters and relationship, and imaginative storytelling, I don't know. I mean, majority of the animes that we see now, it's either I've been transported to another world, or or something in relation with sorcerers and magic.
Yeah, there's a lot of isekai.
Yep. The report also emphasizes that anime helps younger generations find community and shape their personal identities, influencing values, worldviews, and social connections.
Back on the previous point, they are creative though, even though there's a lot of isekai. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, isekai.
There-
Yeah,
There's still creativity in because
yeah,
who
yeah.
else come up with that time I got reincarnated as a vending? Uh,
Or the one I got that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
yeah, I'm specifically remembering one where the main character gets reincarnated. I haven't seen it. Vending machine, really? How
It, it,
how many episodes could you get out of really? How many stories are there to tell about being a vending?
well, right now it's with the vending machine anime, 12 episodes. In terms of manga, there's 2 volumes of this, and light novels, there's 3 volumes of this. So a lot of material.
Yep.
But one does have to question though, with this, the anime is growing in a sense, and you reckon we'll see a bigger growth in this with new technologies coming in. I mean, we were talking a while back about the studio in Nagoya, Japan, about using AI, for example.
Really? Is that a fundamental change in the industry? Or is that just a way to make it?
I mean,
Because they're still going to
sure.
make the same stuff, but it's going
Hmm,
to be made by AI instead of, and that's assuming the AI can ever make something. I
yeah,
don't.
but
We're not there yet. I don't know.
I mean, it's interesting seeing the consumer backlash with AI stuff. So, and plus now with Google releasing their newest AI program, I don't know if you've seen it or not, the Google VEO3, where now it's now you can make AI movies, and it's really disturbing.
Yeah, I haven't seen any VO, but I have seen. I saw part of one. I think it was the TV brand TCL kind of series
Yeah.
as part of an advertising thing, and there was this horrible, horrible adaptation all summer in a day. But I think it's Raymond Bradbury.
Oh yeah, Raymond Bradbury. Yep.
Yeah, and it's a horrible adaptation.
Using AI.
It's the point. Yeah, it's a like 6 minute long, but it completely misses the point of the story. It turns it into some action adventure thing, and AI. It's early AI stuff, so it's minimal movement.
Hmm.
It's realistically just a still image with some minimal. It was not good. I think it's a long way to go before AI can place humans.
Yeah, that's right. The other interesting thing with why anime is such a big deal with newer generations is also the fact that you got social media platforms doing a lot of content when it comes to the animes. Like you see the anime music videos, you see the anime edits, you've seen snippets of various series talking about this with cringy titles like "This bully got that just desserts," or "Don't mess with this hero," or stuff like that. Like you see, you see in TikTok videos, for example, and how there are tons and tons of music videos, cosplay videos, anime scene reenactments, and fan arts as well, and meme videos as well.
Right. So for a long time, it's been a
Hmm.
thing for animators to animate a short section of live action film as part of their training.
Yeah.
So now we've got people acting anime.
Yeah, like
We've
was
completely flipped the script.
like you see convention like you see people doing well doing like Goku screams for example on in conventions and stuff, that type of reenactments, or me like I said meme or like meme content style videos like with on conventions, that kind of thing. But but there are some interesting things to be noted from according to Crunchyroll's executives. They say that these findings confirm that they have observed anecdotally anime is a powerful global cultural force that resonates deeply, shapes identity, and fosters community among fans. And that anime's influence will
That's
only
true
continue.
of anything that people are fans.
Was that?
That is true of anything that people are fans of.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. His report also suggests that anime's influence will only continue to grow, with Generation Alpha expected to fully normalize anime and manga as mainstream entertainment.
If you're already hitting about 50,
Hmm.
how can you not call that mainstream? Why do they have to wait for alpha? Why is it mainstream already?
I think it's not mainstream enough into it's not mainstream enough. It's because of the Western influences, like the like the cultural exchanges, like cultural exchanges, for example. So for like when it comes to collaborating between Western and Japanese studios, there can be a bit of a cultural barrier. Like one thing, or like if something is something is like normal in Japan, but it's not normal in the Western culture. How you gonna how you gonna market it to the Western culture?
Yeah, that's not my point though. My point is strictly the numbers. How is
Hmm.
something that is watched by 50% of not mainstream among that audience?
Hmm.
Because we're getting more and more fragmented. It's if you look at TV shows from 20 years ago, they got more viewership than modern TV shows, even though there's more people because there are so many more options out there. So how does that not count as mainstreams of Zoomers?
So diversifying all the media outlets should go back into one entity. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, I must
My point
admit.
is just he says we're not mainstream yet. Maybe we'll be mainstream when Alpha watch us.
Yeah.
But you're already watched by 50% of Zoomers. Why aren't you mainstream yet?
Yeah, I
Why is that not good enough? Why
maybe
does
the
everything have to be constant growth?
I don't have I don't have an answer to that one. Maybe maybe you might have the answer to it, but
I don't. I mean, it's capitalism.
yeah, I mean,
On the point that why don't they count it as mainstream? I don't have an answer because I feel like if you're being watched by 50% of your target audience, then you can be counted as mainstream among that audience.
okay, I might have a bit of an after thinking about that question. I think it might be a bad answer. Maybe it's just the lack of innovation. I mean,
I
we're
don't get how
seeing
that's
so
related.
many.
I don't get how innovation is related to being mainstream.
I mean, wouldn't innovation be related to growth of an industry though?
Not necessarily.
Oh,
So, how many people out of a target audience need to watch it before you can call it main?
I would say 80 to 90% per se.
They'll never get to 90.
We'll never get to 90.
No, it's not possible.
I mean,
There's too much going on. You'll never hit 90%.
I don't know. I mean, you're seeing a lot. I mean, when you look at shows like Arcane and Invincible, for example, they're hitting it's like it's talked about in a sense.
Yeah, it's talked about, but it's not 90% of everyone on Earth watching. Of everyone in the audience watching. Obviously, it'll never be 90% of everyone on Earth because they're not released.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's tons of countries who don't even care about so they won't watch it, and because they're busy trying to stay alive.
So you think it's more of a geographical and yeah, a lot of things outside the anime world that people are concentrating on more than just anime.
I just think that if you're going to say my product is mainstream, you don't need to hit 90% saturation. You only need to hit maybe 50 or 60% because that's enough to get that's still think about it 50% of your audience being watching anime. That is still a humongous number. Why isn't that number good enough? Why do they have to
Be
keep
greedy.
pushing it to be even bigger?
Yeah.
And that's getting into stuff that's way too deep for this podcast. So,
Yep, yep.
next, next point, DJ.
In terms of in terms of innovation and authenticity, what I was saying in terms of was while blending of Japanese and Western storytelling traditions can lead to exciting new content and great diversity, it requires careful navigation to ensure that innovation does not come at the expense of authentic representation. The challenge lies in maintaining the unique voice and diversity of anime while engaging in meaningful cross-cultural exchange.
Yeah, I getting out there clearer than the last point, but the unique voice of anime. If you want to reach, let's say they want to get to 70% of people who watch TV watching anime or whatever metric, and they want to be mainstreaming that, they need to grow their population by 50%. They're already close to 50% watching. If they want to get to 75%, they have to grow another 50% of the people who are watching. And you're not going to reach that by making a niche product is targeted at one particular nationality. You need to blend it up. And then you lose the unique voice and it stops being special. Sure, lots of people will watch it and enjoy it, but it's not special anymore because it's stopped being unique and become just more mass market slop.
So you reckon the data that's been represented here, you reckon that it needs to be much clearer in terms of like what do they mean by how many percent mainstream it should be and whatnot?
Well, I'm curious what their goals are, but they're probably not going to.
Hmm.
It's probably just the CEO sitting there being told by the board that he has to grow the popularity of anime by 10% this year or he gets fired.
I'm putting the in. I've got the study here. Low. Wait. Nope. How do we? The study will be posted on our show notes. They don't really say what targets they're trying to achieve.
That's my point. I just said they won't tell you.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to
So
CEOs who won't be fired. We've got an interview here from gamesindustry.biz with Take Two Strauss Zelnick.
oh boy.
Yes, that guy who pushed for microtransactions in GTA Online and became very rich. And I believe is not actually a gamer. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I read that.
Speaking of GTA, so you must have heard the news of GTA 6 being delayed.
It's impossible not to. There's so many. Like, people are so obsessed with GTA 6 that it is literally everywhere. Like, I can count. I'd need to take my shoes and socks off to count all of the articles I've seen about GTA 6 in the last week. And that's for a game that's still a year away from coming out.
So what does Selnick talks about this time?
Well, he says that at launch there will be 4 Take-Two titles on Nintendo Switch. So they're going all in on supporting the Switch 2, which is an interesting thing to do because it's an unproven console based on a incredibly well received, but the price of it has gone up so much. I think it's questionable whether it'll sell as well as the previous one.
I like how he's putting putting a lot of investment into Nintendo 6. Like the glazing is amazing. Like they make the Nintendo Switch 2 as like the messiah of games industry at this point.
Well, they're not going to say anything to tear it down.
Hmm. What did he specify which games is he going to announce for the Nintendo Switch 2?
Not in this article.
Hmm.
But he also was asked about Civilization 7 getting a poor review at launch, but they're going to keep supporting it, which has been true for Civilization games for the past years. Every time there's a new game in that series, people complain. Then they keep developing. Like the development cycle post-release for Civilization game is quite long. It's usually like 6 or 7 years. And people will pick up the new game, not like it when it comes out, try it again a bit later, and get into it and start to like it. So he reckons he's pretty confident that Civilization 7 will eventually be done. And onto the question that everyone's going to be upset by, Mafia the Old Country is going to be $50. So they asked him what the whole idea is, and he goes on to waffle in the most boring marketing speech about how the goal is to bring the best value, more value than what they charge. They think the old country is extraordinary and it looks great. They want
Ah,
rules
no.
to it.
Okay, I can give you the translation. It's going to be the most mid-rated game known to man, and no one's going to buy it.
Yeah, he also says our job is not to turn a consumer upside down, shake them, and see how much change comes out of their pocket. Our job is to create the very best entertainment. If we do that, the revenue will take care of itself. Then
Says
why are we
every
being charged to increase the price of games?
every CEO says that, like, oh, we want to increase the we want to bring out the best product. I'm like, yeah, you say that every CEO says that, but doesn't do it. Exactly.
I mean, I was expecting CEO speak, but this is a bit on the nose to not answer the question at all.
Man, but far out, man. With the game prices, yeah, $50 for Mafia: The Old Country. Okay, that sounds reasonable, but at least it's better than Randy Pitchford's idea of a game pricing of a game and his take on it.
What did Randy Pitchford say about game pricing again?
He says that his Borderlands 4 game will be $80, and how when I was your age, I scrounged up money. I scrounged at $80 to buy that game or something along those lines.
Well, it's true. Game pricing has stayed roughly the same. It's not that, games, if you look at inflation, games have gotten cheaper. I think a lot of the big pushback is that we're just getting squeezed on all sides, right? So the escapism we need to survive being squeezed on all sides, squeezing us even more, just feels like a kick in the teeth.
Yeah. By the way,
But,
the reason. Oh,
no, you go.
the reason why Randy was saying the whole back in my day, the game was $80. I had to scrounge up for $80 was because a fan asked the question, Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. Which Randy responded by saying, A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starlight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991. While I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Prismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen.
Yeah, that. Okay, so on one hand, the price of games hasn't. On the other hand, the minimum wage hasn't gone up in the US. So you'd think that still adds up, right? A game is still worth, I don't know, 8 hours of working. I think that's about in the US. But yeah, the cost of living has gone up stupidly massively.
Yeah.
So people aren't going to be able to afford to buy as many games as going at the games in.
Well, what's also interesting, it's like like he makes it sound like my game is $80 and it'll be the best game ever, and I'm like, yeah, your game is not GTA, man.
Even then, GTA isn't the best game ever.
The replayability. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, would you replay?
Have you seen chess? Chess has been played for thousands of years.
And people still play it.
Yeah, that's replayability.
Oh, come on. How about GTA? Okay, GTA. You would still go back and replay GTA, right?
No.
No, really?
I haven't touched a GTA game since. So let me check my Steam.
Oh shit! He's gonna come up with the pictures, or he's gonna come up with a screenshot.
Since 2017.
Wow! So about 8 years ago.
Yeah. I put hundreds of hours in GTA Online and then I stopped and I haven't gone back. So they also asked him to clarify the price of premium games because Nintendo are pricing, and they want to know what Take-Two plans to do. And yeah, he points out that what I've been saying now, that adjusted for inflation, the price of games has been coming. But he also says that consumers look at their entertainment through a lens of how much time am I going to spend with this, and how much am I going to like it. The more time they spend and the more they're going to like it, the value is being delivered to those consumers. Okay, so he's falling into the dollar per hour myth. It's an absolute myth that the best games give you the most.
I mean, there is some truth to that. I mean, I would say the gacha games would be there'll be some truth to it, like for
Okay, and
gacha
what
games,
about
for example.
the greatest game out ever made, Outer Wild?
The Outer Wilds?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you play
maybe.
through
Yeah.
that and explore everything in about 30 hours max.
Hmm. Yeah, I admit, yeah, you might be right on that one as well. Like in that sense, maybe.
And then compare that to a modern Ubisoft game. Sure, you can spend hundreds of hours playing the latest Far Cry, and how much of that is just filler?
Yeah, very much like filler because I know when was the last time Ubisoft made an actually good game? That's the that's one question to ask.
Yeah, but optimizing your games for hours played isn't you're just wasting people's time. So he says our job is to maximize the value being delivered and then offer that value at a meaningful reduced cost so that the experience of consumption is optimized across both how it feels when you're actually playing our games as well as how it feels when you're paying your credit card. That's our job. I do
So
think that the
basically,
value
be a
that's
whale.
optimistic and growing. That
Hmm.
is our job.
So basically, be a whale. That's what he's trying to
Yeah.
say. That's what's fascinating about like CEOs like this guy and Randy Pitchford. It's not they're trying to say like, oh, please be a whale to our games, and that's what I think the direction the gaming industry is, which is frightening now. It's everyone wants it's pushing to be that whale.
Well, have you seen how much money it brings in to have a whale?
A lot of money.
Yeah, there's a reason they want whale. And in case anyone's listening to us for the first time and doesn't know what a whale is when you have one person who, well, or more people, but a small fraction of your players who spend so much on microtransactions, basically keep the game afloat for everyone else, and you massive amounts.
Yep, the high spenders, very high spend. So, from what he's saying, as a game developer, how do you find the? Do you reckon the games industry is in safe hands, or you reckon it's just it's? I question this guy's motive. I don't trust him.
Yeah, I don't trust him. I reckon the future of the games industry is with these.
Oh yeah, but with Zelnick's with Zelnick's approach though, you reckon games companies, you reckon we'll see the future of Take Two be massively successful, like back to when GTA was out and Take Two was wildly successful. You reckon it will go back? You reckon we'll see a resurrection of that, or you reckon?
That GTA 6 does come out, it's going to sell. I just have another note on his last question. And what's exciting you about the year ahead? And he says that they have a great release schedule coming up, and he's looking forward to Mafia: The Old Country Lands 4. Yes, I'm looking forward to those games releasing and money being poured into my bank account.
Oh, I love your cynicism, Professor. Your witty cynicism amuses me at times. I mean,
He also
that's
says
good
we've
though.
got great releases coming in WWE and NBA. Well, I don't think I've heard a single good thing about the WWE game in the past 3 or 4 years.
Ah,
I
I
feel
have
like
been ever since their disastrous, ever since their well, a few years ago when they had that disastrous glitch that was affecting one of the WWE games. I think they've improved a lot in terms of performance. So because they
okay.
have a new engine going.
Yeah, well, I don't play them myself, but I do watch Uber who plays them.
Hmm.
And it's weird. I follow a lot of people who are into wrestling and I don't give about it. But I really haven't heard any good said about
The newest one or the
the last couple of years of WWE.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know they. I'm looking at the scores for this year. Metacritic for WWE 2K25. They're saying it's 80 out of 10 for the PS5, and Xbox is 80 out of 100 and 84 out of 100. So pretty good
Okay.
score. As I said, they've improved a lot ever since
Mind
the.
that game review,
Hmm.
anything below 7 is
Yep. Or that, or if the reviewer says it's mid, that's a sting. That's a big sting.
yeah. But yeah, for some reason, game reviews are so skewed to high end. I
Hmm.
think because a lot of people just aren't good at assigning a number to quality.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying I do any better, but if you look at Metacritic scores and reviews and try to match up what people are actually saying, the scores that they get, anything below 7 is do not play.
Oh, but then some reviewers, you look at they I don't know what they were smoking when they were doing the review. Like the other day IGN did a review of Arc Raiders, and man, the like to dislike. I'm looking at the review, the like to dislike ratio of this guy's review. 14K dislikes, 577 likes, and I'm go and look at other people's reviews, and they were like, "What the hell is this guy talking about? This is a good game to play." But
Or GTA 6 blows up, we might have a supervolcano,
oh shit.
and scientists have a plan to stop it, which is like the inverse of an evil villain. So, a team of researchers from Stanford have done surveys around Campi Flegrei and have identified groundwater pressure, not magma, causing quakes. So, one of the things you see before a volcanic eruption is an increase of earthquakes because the pressure of the magma is built. But what
That's
the team have discovered is that the pressure building up it's from water,
huh.
which is good news because it means that it might be possible to manage it.
Yeah, there'll be one. There'll be one way to cook spaghetti very quickly now. Now that you don't need to require waiting for long hours to boil water, you can just go to that place and boil water so quickly.
Yeah, well, that's southern Spain. I don't know anything about geothermal power in, sorry, Spain? Why would I say Spain? Italy. I don't know anything about geothermal power in Italy, but I know in Iceland they get their hot water from geothermal.
Hmm.
But the amount of energy there is so high that the draw off to provide hot water to cook pasta isn't going to have a meaningful.
Nope.
So, yeah, you could address the problem. They reckon they can address the problem by managing surface runoff. And so, water on the surface of the Earth seeps through into these cavities, becomes heated by the magma, and builds up pressure. And they suggest that maybe they could reduce the pressure by drilling a well. But you'd have to be drawing so much water out to have any real impact.
Yeah, but and also drilling it to alleviate the pressure. That's pretty dangerous in a sense.
Well, yeah, you could cause a steam explosion.
Hmm.
I'm assuming they drill it remotely using some sort of robotics. And just skimming through the article again, yes, they do have geothermal, well, a ton of geothermal energy. Italy, I don't know whether extracting.
Extraction is going to be pretty hard if done right. When if they do it right, it's going to be pretty hard.
Yeah,
Well, that's going
they
to be interesting.
had an event between 1982 and 1984 where the town Pazzuli rose 6 feet, so 2 meters above its previous elevation because of a series of earthquakes.
You mean Pazzuli or Lazuli?
Pazzuli.
Okay.
Pazzuli? I don't know, it's Italian. I don't speak Italian.
What's interesting is this is the second super volcano we have now. I mean, remember the first super volcano? Is it no, not Krakoa? The one that's in Indonesia.
Krakatoa.
Yeah,
There
Krakatoa.
are
Yeah, that's one.
volcanoes all over the place.
So if this super volcano in Italy was to explode and go nuts, what would be the did they say what would be the damage?
I haven't seen any on how big although in the 80s they had to evacuate 40,000 and that was 40 years ago, so the population is likely massively. But they've got part of the problem is that Campi Flegrei is sitting atop a geothermal reservoir, particular type of rock that is fibrous, and fibrous materials are stronger. They deform without fracturing. So that would make a eruption or an earthquake more dangerous because a
Hmm.
lot more pressure builds up before it gets released. And there's photos in this article that show how high the water has risen the last 6 years. Like there are places where the water comes to the surface naturally, and it looks like it's by at least a minimum 6 years.
Yeah, if that's I can imagine the tsunamis that will come out from this activity. That'll be insane.
Yeah, that's a risk. But part of this research was to make coffee.
Oh, what? Wait,
Well,
what?
not literally make coffee, but they used a mocha or similar device. A mocha pot is a type of coffee making device that you put on a stove, fill the bottom chamber with water and the chamber with coffee, and then heat it. And the research they did to take these mocha pot style pressure vessels and fill them with volcanic ash and brine, then heat see what happened to the rock. And the problem is that the rock self-seal and cracks stuff.
Oh, how did it pan out in the end?
Well, it revealed the reason why they have trouble releasing pressure from Campo Flegrei,
Hmm.
Campi Fruit, sorry. But I'd be interested to see, like, they even have a photo in the article comparing their experiment setup. I'd be interested to see whether this research could also apply to other supervolcanoes, Yellowstone, because people have been scared of Yellowstone for years. If they found a way to drain off some of the pressure, they prevent it from erupting and wiping out North America. On the other hand, I know some North Americans who would be perfectly okay with that happening right now.
Wait, isn't Yellowstone the geyser is it geyser geyser or geyser geyser?
Yeah, there's a famous geyser,
Oh yeah.
which is
So
caused by the volcanic
hmm,
geyser is hot water that shoots out of a hole in the ground because of big pressure.
yeah. You reckon it would if they if they do this sort of activity on Yellowstone, for example, you reckon this will affect the geyser in terms of how much water we'll see it come out, or
Yeah, it could.
but then with these sorts of studies though, you reckon it's high time we don't underestimate underwater eruptions at this point, because a lot of people would ignore it.
Well, yeah, what can you do?
Hmm.
There isn't a lot except evacuate what seismologists say there's going to be.
Yeah.
But this new research gives us an idea of something that might work to reduce eruptions. But we'll take a short break and be back with our shout out. This week, as every week, we're sponsored by Res. You buy Res for 10% off with the code NERDS, NERD, at DrinkRes, drink REZ. Res is Australian made and owned and is an energy drink for gamers. DJ already told you what the drink does. It tastes great and it really helps me focus when I'm recording this podcast.
Are you drinking it with water or
No, just
any other
water.
just water? Ah, come on, be adventurous, live a little, go nuts. Imagine trying to mix it with alcohol.
Do not try this at home.
Oh, I know. I'm not gonna try it, but maybe
Anyway,
you might try.
no. On to our
Ah,
before DJ gets in anymore. On the 21st of May 2025, we passed the 45th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 5 The Empire Strikes Back.
Professor,
Or
I am
what?
your father.
You are not my father.
Search within your memories. You know I'm telling you the.
Anyway, isn't that in the third one?
No, that is from The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. Well, it's a 1980 American epic space opera film directed by Irvin Kershner from a screenplay by Lee Brackett and Lawrence Kasdan based on a story by George Lucas. The sequel to 1977 Star Wars, it's the second film in the series and the fifth chronological chapter, and it earned $401.5 million worldwide in 1980 money, which was the highest grossing film of that year. It received mixed reviews from critics and fans who were conflicted about its darker theme, and then they would proceed to go and overcorrect with.
Oh man, those Ewoks.
Of the 9 Star Wars movies, The Empire Strikes Back has been critically assessed as being the best of them, and the scene in which Darth Vader reveals he is Luke's father is regarded as one of the greatest plot twists in cinema, even though it was directly ripped off from Dune. If Dune had been made a movie first, Dune would have been the movie to do that with the greatest plot twist.
You're so jealous, aren't you, Professor?
I'm not jealous. I just
Oh,
appreciate the finer thing, not
yeah.
some hacks ripoff. Star Wars owes so much to Dune, to Japanese samurai movies, to World War II fighters,
Yeah.
and I'm going to piss off a lot of people, but it borrows so much from all those things, and it doesn't even do it better.
For anyone that has complaints about this, please come to our Discord. We'll put the Discord link onto our show notes, and or if you don't want to go into our Discord, you can always send an email at nerds.amalgamated@gmail.com.
So George Lucas came up with a scheme to avoid sharing creative rights and funded the movie himself with $30 million from his profits from Episode 4 New Hope and a bank loan. And he also paid out nearly $5 million in bonuses to employees for this movie.
Huh. Didn't Monty Python do something similar with George Harrison donating money to it?
Yeah. yeah, Monty Python had trouble getting their movies funded,
Yeah.
so they asked to be. And the scenes where Luke force pulls his lightsaber were achieved by having him throw it away and film reverse. And during the scene where Mark Hamill bangs his head on Yoda's hut, he had to film it 16 times.
That must be painful.
Yes, and they also tortured when there was a snowstorm in Norway. They sent him out through the snow film a scene while the cameraman and director stayed inside the hotel and filmed.
I saw that and I'm just going, can you imagine being Mark Hamill and you were the director, you go, "Hey, Mark, I found this awesome setting there. I just want you for the shot, just go out there and picture yourself in that snowstorm while we hide ourselves in this lovely hotel room."
Yes, and George Lucas spent thousands of dollars on an advertising campaign to get an Oscar nomination, Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Frank Oz, which failed because it was considered that a puppeteer wasn't an actor.
Oh, see that's it. Actually, now I think about it, can you imagine AI actors as best actor? That's gotta be nuts.
Yeah, that will kick up a stink. But Frank Oz was from Henson's company and brought in Miss Piggy and Kermit to cheer up Mark Hamill when he was feeling down.
See, can you imagine Yoda with a Kermit the Frog accent?
Yeah, they're not far off.
Yeah, now I think about it, Yoda is just a mix of Miss Piggy and Kermit together.
And Harrison Ford wanted to be Han Solo to be killed off, which he didn't get his wish for another nearly 40 years.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
35 years or something by the time he'd wish.
Oh, but that death was was so stupid though. It was like Obi-Wan just being dead.
He didn't play Obi-Wan, Han
I
Solo.
know, but like I said, it was they were trying to do the Obi-Wan effect, like how Obi-Wan died. Like, oh no, it's a sad death, but Han Solo being dead, it's like, what are you trying to do? It just didn't have that impact, the same impact. That was my point.
Okay. Well, while filming in London, Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford and the Rolling Stones had a party with Monty Python because they rented a house from Eric Idle. The Pythons served a drink they called Tunisian table cleaner, which apparently explains why Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford were so happy in Cloud City scene. I would have expected them to have a horrible hangover.
I want to see what the recipe is now for that Tunisian table cleaner. I'm trying to type out to Google what's the Tunisian table cleaner recipe. It's coming up with, oh, it's a homemade cleaning solution of olive oil, vinegar, and lemon.
Okay?
Yeah, I think we'll never see that recipe.
No. And our next shout out on the 22nd of May 1946, physicist Louis Slotin is fatally irradiated in a criticality incident with the Demon Core at Los Alamos Lab. Louis Slotin and 7 other personnel were in a lab conducting an experiment with the Demon Core, which wasn't called the Demon Core yet, but had already killed somebody. So, they really should have been more careful. They wanted to see how close it was to criticality by positioning new reflectors.
For those
So,
who are curious, we should tell them what the demon core is.
oh, I'm getting there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they took the Demon, which is the core of a nuclear bomb, and put it in between 2 half spheres of beryllium reflector. And the idea is that when radioactive material decays, it releases neutrons bump into other radioactive and make it decay and basically speed up the decay. So by accelerating the decay rate, you can cause a nuclear explosion. So they took these parts that were designed to cause a nuclear explosion and put them around the core and just put some shims between, because allowing the beryllium spheres completely encase the core would cause it to reach critical mass and become deadly. Louis Slotin decided he was smarter than that, and he was a physicist, so he was a pretty smart guy, and didn't use the shims. Instead of using the shims, he used a screwdriver as a wedge. Twisting the screwdriver, he would adjust the spacing between spheres. And he managed to pull off the test a dozen times before the fatal incident. Enrico Fermi said that he'd be dead within a year if they continue the test. They also described it as tickling the dragon's tail, based on a remark by Richard Feynman. Well,
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah, one day, the screwdriver slipped. The reflectors closed around the core. There was a flash of light. A huge burst of neutron radiation shot out. Slotin managed to remove the reflectors, but had already received a fatal dose of 1000 rads neutron radiation and 114 rads of gamma radiation in less than a second. Fortunately for the others, the position of his body blocked the radiation. Slotin would die 9 days later.
Oh, I was hoping you would get some superpowers like that.
No, that's
Damn,
not how it works.
I know.
The next closest scientist, Graves, was hospitalized for several weeks, died 19 years later of heart failure. So then they started calling it the Demon Corps because it had killed people.
You gotta admit though, the number of accidents, the experimentation that people were going through back in the day, they were wild.
Oh, yeah. Well, on the 22nd of May today, of May 2020, we passed the 45th anniversary of Pac-Man. Originally called Puck-Man, but the story goes that they changed that because they didn't want people scratching off part of the letter, making it in Fuck-Man. The game was developed by Toru Iwatani and a 9-man team. Iwatani wanted to create a game that would have been as well as because most video games of the time had masculine theme.
It just reminds me of the Futurama with with Fry's wish if one of the video games came to life and Mrs. Pac-Man.
Is that a Futurama episode? I don't remember that one.
Oh, it was it was from the Anthology of Interest.
Okay. Yeah, I completely don't remember that. So when the game was being tested, non-gamers liked it, regular arcade visitors were not impressed. The names of the ghosts were also changed before the international release. Some American promotional material used the name Snapper before they determined Pac-Man. And DJ, what is our messed up moment?
Oh boy, so you remember Death Note the anime, right?
I'm aware of Death Note.
So there is a very, very unsettling scene that scarred a lot of people, and that was when the character Naomi Misoro decides to off herself after the main character realizes she is onto him. And from what I could see, the scene was yeah. So she was for context, so she lost her partner and she decided to go investigate her partner's death at the hands of Light. And there is a moment where Light says that he will need some sort of a form of identification before she can join, and Naomi shows her driver's license. Using a piece of the Death Note, Light writes down Naomi's name, and when she asks him why he keeps looking at his watch, Light hesitates and then replies that he does that because he is Kira. Naomi is shocked and realizes that Light controlled her to kill herself. She slowly walks away from Light, and when he asks her if she wants to speak to his father, Naomi refuses. Light sees her walking towards the road, and the scene switches to her walking upstairs, where there is a rope at the top, implying that she offed herself. The body is never found
So
due to the
they wrote down her name in the note, so she was going to die anyway.
Yeah.
And then she went and sped it up.
Yep. And the way she died, it was yeah, very grim. Let's just put it that way. And how she died, and not how she died. It was the lead up to her death. Yeah, that was very gut wrenching.
Okay.
But yeah, that was so messed up when she found out that he was that Kira was Light. That penny drop moment. That and yeah,
Like when in Breaking Bad, when Heisenberg reveals himself.
oh yeah, is to who, the brother-in-law, or
Yeah, he does it a few times.
I still love when Schrader found out and he just went absolutely nuts.
Oh, when he's sitting on the toilet reading the free book.
Yeah, the penny drop moment.
Yeah.
And then we confronts him at the back at the garage and it's like, you son of a bitch, you bombed the hospital.
Well, a wacky movie on the 21st of May 1980, the movie The Final Countdown premiered in London, which is odd because it's an American movie about an American warship, and it had its first theatrical release ever in London. Directed by Don Taylor, it featured Kirk Douglas, Martin Sheen, and Catherine Ross. And the plot is that in 1980, the USS Nimitz goes missing. Now, the reason it's gone missing is because it's been caught up in some sort of time storm and has been transported back to the attack on Pearl Harbor. And if I remember correctly, the ending of that movie is a big letdown. So
As
they
in,
had a limited budget but a promising script, so they got funding from the Department of Defense and filmed at Naval Air Station Key West, Naval Station Norfolk, and off the Florida Keys, 1979. Pearl Harbor was mostly stock footage, with most of the exteriors shot at sea and at dry docks. During the operations, an emergency landing took place, with the crew allowed to film the recovery of the aircraft, which appeared in the final film. They ran into difficulty filming the takeoff scene because the first attempt to film an F-14 takeoff at Naval Station resulted in the camera and operator being blown away.
yeah. Don't mess with those planes, man.
Yeah, do not mess with jet engines. Either end will mess you up.
Uh-huh. You know, I just realized the Nimitz is just an anagram for minutes. If
Nimitz
you
is an
was that?
anagram for minutes. No, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
There's
M-I-N.
a Z in there.
Was that?
Nimitz. Minutes. There's a Z
Yeah.
and an M. None of it matches up.
M-I-N-I-T-Z. Okay, just take out the. But then if you think about it, the pronunciation is the same.
It's Nimitz with an N.
Yeah, I know. But then if you reword it, it's minutes. But then they take it. But then it sounds the same.
I will not have what you are having. The film featured 3 Mitsubishi A6M0 replicas built from Tora, with 2 of the replicas having a dogfight with F-14 Tomcats, which was the first time such a scene had ever been filmed, and I can't imagine a Zero winning.
No, me neither.
Like, the F-14 had over the horizon missile, so the Zero wouldn't even see the F-14. And the script featured a scene where the Japanese pilots would try to force the F. So that's a legitimate thing in dogfighting. I don't remember the number, but when you're dogfighting and you kill, you can call out like Fox 1, Fox 2, and there's a particular number for I made the enemy fly into the ground.
You mean the kill ratio?
No, there's particular call. I might be getting it wrong. It might not be Fox. But there's a call, right? You call out Fox 1, I killed them with guns. Fox 2 for I killed a missile. And then there's whatever number call out. They flew into the ground trying to get.
Oh yeah, here we go. So I've typed it up on Google. It says here, in the context of dogfight kill number call, the phrase refers to a report or declaration of how many enemy aircraft pilots shot down. The number itself represents the pilot's kills, often used to assess their skill and effectiveness. In terms of call, it didn't really specify. They said, for example, a pilot made a dogfight kill number call after engaging a dogfight. Say something like, I got 3 of them. I got the kill number. This indicates that they've destroyed 3 enemy aircraft during the dogfight. So I
Okay.
don't think there's a specific number per se.
Well, I'll blame my dad for. So during the Cold War, in the 1980s, Hungary banned the final countdown because it glorified the United States.
Oh, by the way, Professor, I think your dad's talking about victory marking. That could be it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And there's a tradition in the US Navy called breakaway music. After conducting an underway replenishment, the 2 ships will break away and disconnect their hoses and cable while playing a song. The USS Nimitz is the only ship to have music which is the theme from the final countdown.
Sounds like pit stop music.
Kind of is. And allegedly there's a scene where an F-14 nearly crashes into the ocean, and the sound for it, of the engine screaming, was created by mixing the sound of actual jet engine with the scream of the pilot's wife when she first saw that clip.
Oh no. Oh dear.
Yeah, it's got here an alternative ending, but I don't remember well enough. I seem to remember that the actual thing is just the end of the movie, just sort of end with no. I could be thinking of something else. But in this alternative ending, the Nimitz returns to the present day where the world has changed because they interfered in the past. But test audiences thought that was a bad ending. Consequences for my actions? No.
I mean, time travel. Who causality? Oh, who gives a smeg? Come on. if you know that reference, you know that reference.
Yes. And there's a scene where a character is invited into a limo and drives away from the Nimitz. It was filmed at the Nimitz's home port, and the limo is driving straight off the end of the pier.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. Look after yourself, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next week.
Check out our social media, our YouTube, and we'll be also streaming on Twitch. Also check out Res to get a cool discount at drinkres.com. That is drinkres.com. Stay happy, stay nerdy. See you guys.